Thanks for joining us today. Marty here with Warehouse and Operations as a Career. Let's see, what do we have on the schedule today? We're working on an episode where we'll be discussing what a 3PL is, why companies use them, and what opportunities they can bring to us as employees. Be sure to check it out. I think you'll find it interesting. I've reached out to a couple of, I guess you'd call them subject matter experts, and I hope to have it put together in the next few weeks. We've had quite a few questions about 3PLs, so I'll try and get those questions answered. For today, I wanted to share a phone call I received earlier in the week. Now, I get asked for help from individuals pretty often, and of course, we do our best sharing our opinions and thoughts. Here at WAOC, we kind of think of our mission as to share experiences and reach out to those that can help us learn something and help us get our careers on track. You know me, I'm honestly one of those that believe if we develop a plan and have something defined or our goals defined, we can pretty much accomplish anything that we want to. So I received a call from a young gentleman that he'd been working in the construction field for the last 3 years. Hang on, I'm getting ahead of my story a bit. After answering the phone, he introduced himself, stated that he had picked up our podcast card at a sourcing or a staffing company, and he decided he'd like more information on being a clamp driver. As you may know, a clamp attachment is something that can be put or added onto our forklifts. And there's several different kinds. You can move 55-gallon drums with a barrel attachment, and another kind of clamp is great for carrying loads like cylindrical big rolls of paper or a box blade for moving large cases, eliminating the labor needed for moving them from one pallet type to another. Picture the box clamp as 2 blades on each side instead of our forks that squeeze or applies a measured amount of pressure, allowing us to pick up the cases, carry them to another location, and then setting them down. They can save a lot of time and a lot of work in the manual stacking of the product. I found a quick little read at www.quora.com. This article does a really good job of explaining a few different clamp types and how to use them. I'll include the link in today's notes on our website, Warehouse and OperationsAsACareer.com, in case you'd like to check it out or read it. Okay, I got off track again. So where was I? So this gentleman, he'd been working in construction as of late, but stated that he was just kind of tired of hunting jobs and not knowing how many hours he was going to get each week. He wanted something, that was more stable where he could work every day and have a good check at the end of every week. Clamp drivers or people with some type of experience are sometimes difficult to run across, so I've got to admit I got pretty excited and was already thinking who I could call and tell him I found a good clamp operator for him. I asked how much experience that he'd had on a clamp and of what type. It's easier really to place someone with a company that is using the type of equipment that we have experience on. That's when I learned that he didn't have any experience with a clamp. He'd actually never driven a forklift of any kind. Upon a little more discussion, I learned he had never actually worked in a warehouse. So I asked him how he had landed on being a clamp operator, and he shared that he'd seen a job posting. He really liked the pay being offered and decided that that was going to be his next job. Now, you've really got to admire his motivation here. He wanted to know if I knew where he could get some training on one and where they were going to be hiring for that position. I really enjoy these kinds of talks. Helping someone plan out their goals and a path to reach them is really pretty rewarding. That being said, we have to be honest though. I explained that forklift driving was really a kind of skilled position, and experience is really the only training that there is, and starting out on a clamp truck is not the easiest truck to really learn on. Now, it appeared that he had done his research, or a little research. He stated that he found a school that would certify him on a forklift, and with that operator's card, he could go get a job. You all know how I feel about paying someone for our 29 CFR 1910.178 training. Any reputable employer is going to give us that training for free, when they put us on their lift. It's their responsibility to have trained operators on their docks. And part of that OSHA reg states, it's 1910.178, L, subcategory 2, subcategory 3. All operator training and evaluation shall be conducted by persons who have the knowledge, training, and experience to train powered industrial truck operators and evaluate their competence. 1910.178 L3 Training Program Content. Powered industrial truck operators shall receive initial training in the following topics, except in topics which the employer can demonstrate are not applicable to safe operation of the truck in the employer's workplace. The reg is site-specific. To be certified, trained, or whatever you want to call it, your training is not complete until you're observed on the docks that you're going to be working on. Again, these courses are good, and they have their place. It's a great safety course, and we learn about weight plates and the limitations of the equipment, as well as the many dangers that they can present. We need to understand, though, that we're probably not going to get a job with a new employer as a fork driver on day one. Think about it. They're going to put us on a $20,000 or $30,000 piece of equipment to handle their freight driving around in their warehouse. That's an awful lot of liability and dangers there. Honestly, we'll need some hands-on experience and quite a bit of experience before we're turned loose with a piece of equipment. I suggested to him that he identifies a company that used the type of clamp that he'd like to operate and take an unskilled position to get his foot in the door. You all know I feel sanitation, loading, or unloading are great foot in the door type of positions. Work with them for 3 or 4 months and let our bosses know that we want to be a fork driver. If we've been on time every shift and done a good job, we'll get noticed and our employer will work with us. They'll train us, give us some time on the lift, and we'll be moved into the position whenever we're ready. Well, the caller was in a bit of a hurry and thanked me for my time and had no problem letting me know he was going to go ahead and get his certification and apply. He was really confident he'd have no problem getting a job. He said he's seen so many ads for a clamp driver that they'd hire him, that they needed some help. I, of course, wished him the best of luck and asked him to give me a call when he gets the job and let me know how it's going. You know, when we're out of work, we need money. We want that paycheck, and of course, we want a position that pays well. It's hard to realize, or in my experience, it's really hard to realize that we need the training. Getting the job is not necessarily keeping the job. Only performing the job well can we succeed, and only with training and experience can we really make our mark. We've spoken to the forklift and different attachments a couple of times now. Check out the forklift driver with episode 15. Or maybe episode 43 titled Order Selector and Forklift Driving. Oh, and in episode 57 we visited with Lavoie. I'd consider him a master with another type of attachment on our lifts, the slip sheet. It's titled A Professional Story Slip Sheet Operator. While we're on the subject of attachments for our powered industrial trucks, let's jump over to the electric pallet jack for a minute and talk about the pallet puller attachment. You may have heard it called a pallet jockey, or I've even heard it called a pallet grabber before. It's an attachment that has clamps or vice points on one side that we can attach to our pallet jack forks at the load wheel openings or end of the forks to where we can slide under the 4-way slots on a pinwheeled pallet on a trailer. It'll allow us to slide the pallet out a little ways so we can get our pallet jack under it from the front or the back. It's a very useful tool. We'll need to exercise a little caution now so as, that we don't end up damaging the pallet or tossing the product everywhere, but it's fairly easy to use. I used to see quite a bit of the old-fashioned steel meat hooks being used, the old S-hooks. We'd hook one end in the load wheel cavity and the other to a runner on the pallet and just yank the pallet towards us. hoping the whole time that the hook didn't snap into and go flying across the dock or really at us. If you're still using the old hooks, please stop. There's just too many safe attachments made today for us to take that chance. Well, there's a few thoughts, and I kept it to only 2 opinions today. Oh, I wanted to mention next week will be our 100th WAOC episode. I'm reaching out to a few of our roundtable members and seeing if maybe we can all get together for another Shoot the Breeze session. If you have any topics or suggestions for it, please reach out and let me throw them out on the table while I've got the entire group together. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'd appreciate you checking out our Facebook and Twitter feeds. You can use that little @ WHSEANDOPS. Maybe like and follow, if you're so inclined. If we can look up a topic or answer a question, please email us. host@warehouseingoperationsAsAcareer.com. We love looking up and researching topics for you. Until next week, let's all help out a new associate in some way. Safety is a great thing to share.